Downsizing can feel overwhelming, but for most people, the hardest part isn't actually moving, it's not knowing where to start. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I guide my clients step by step so you can feel a little bit more clear and hopefully a lot less stressed about the process. So, if this is something you're starting to think about, just stay with me. I'll walk you through it. We're going to go step by step. So, step one, you want to clarify your why and your timing. The first thing I always talk through with my clients is why they're moving and when, what's the timing, what's motivating them. We're not talking about the house yet. We're talking about the lifestyle. Are you looking for less maintenance, closer to family, more walkability, a simpler day-to-day life? Because when you're clear on that, everything else just gets easier. I had a client recently who thought they needed a smaller house, but what I really heard them saying is they wanted less upkeep and to be closer to their kids. Once they got clear on that, their options completely opened up. And then there's timing. Are you thinking this year or are you just starting to explore the idea? There's no pressure to rush this part. It's just about getting clear on what that looks like. So once you have that clarity, the next thing we look at is where you're going next. That's step two. So you're going to decide before you do anything with your current home, your general idea of where you're going. Are you staying local here in central Pennsylvania, moving into a 55 plus community, relocating out of state to be closer to family? This doesn't have to be a final decision by any stretch, but having direction helps everything else fall into place. I've had clients start decluttering too early without knowing where they were going, and they ended up making decisions that they later sort of had to undo. Even a general direction makes the next step so much easier. So from there, we start to look at the financial side of things. You want to understand your financial picture. This is where we start connecting the dots, right? So what is your current home likely to sell for? That's where I'll do my research and help you with that. What would your next home cost? What are your moving costs? What does it look like for your monthly expenses, capital gains? And then the question I get all the time, do you sell first or buy first? So for some of my clients, selling first gives them peace of mind, makes the process so much easier. But for other buyers, buying first helps them know where they're going. There's no one size fits all answer, but once you understand your numbers, then you have options. Once that piece is clear, we can start to walk through one of the most emotional parts of the process, and that's step four. You're going to start decluttering and gently, strategically re-looking at your space. This is the part that can feel overwhelming for a lot of people, and I want to say this clearly. You do not have to do it all at once. In fact, I always recommend starting small. I always say this: one closet, one room, one drawer. I had a client who started with just one kitchen drawer a day, and within a few weeks, she felt like she had built real momentum without feeling overwhelmed. So this part isn't just physical. I know it's a lot of work, but it's honestly so emotional. So give yourself time and some grace. As you start making progress there, the next step is getting your home ready, but in a smart and realistic way. That's step five. A lot of people think they need to do a major renovation or do a lot of work before selling. And most of the time, that's just not necessary. It's really about focusing on what matters. Clean, well-maintained homes, move-in ready where it counts. Optional quick fixes. I've seen people spend money on updates that didn't really impact their sale. It didn't get them more money or help it sell quickly. I want to focus on the simple things that make a big difference. This is where having guidance really can matter. So you're not wasting your time or your money or your energy. Once your home and your plans are both starting to take shape, that's when we're going to pull everything together. Okay, this is where we're starting to create the plan. It's where everything starts to feel more manageable. We map it out, your timeline, how we anticipate the sale going, and your next move, and get it all lined up so that the transition feels as smooth as possible. So for some clients, that means coordinating a rent back period with the new buyer or a flexible settlement. For others, it's lining up temporary housing, maybe with family, or moving right into their next home. Having a plan removes so much of the uncertainty. And there's one final piece that doesn't always get talked about. So that's step 7, knowing when you're ready. So honestly, maybe that should have been one. There's the practical side of being ready, and then there's the emotional side. You'll start to feel the shift when things feel clearer instead of overwhelming. I've had clients tell me they just knew when they were ready. Sometimes it's taken months, sometimes it's literally years. Not because everything was perfect, because it finally felt a little more manageable. And remember, this doesn't have to happen all at once. You can take your time. You can be one of those takes a couple years clients. You just take one step at a time. If you're even starting to think about downsizing, or maybe right sizing, I hope this gave you some kind of clarity and a place to begin. I'll be sharing more videos like this, walking through different parts of the process. So if you found this helpful, feel free to subscribe to this channel and follow along. And if you ever have questions, I'm always here to help.